When family members face a serious illness like Alzheimer's or dementia, they depend on their loved ones for support and for guidance. So you want to make sure that you're prepared if the time comes. Well, our next guest can help. Christopher Stetzer is owner of Senior Helpers, serving Dover and Kent County and all of Southern Delaware. Thanks for coming in, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Tell me, Alzheimer's and dementia really impact a lot more people than we may realize.
It does. Right now, there's an estimate of at least 5.1 million people today in the United States that have Alzheimer's, and they're looking at that to increase to almost 13 million within the next 15 years.
Wow. Now, Senior Helpers has a thing called the GEMS program. Tell me about that.
Yeah, our Senior GEMS program is a one-of-a-kind program as well, as that we heard in an earlier segment. We provide a DVD, it's a training DVD for families and caregivers. It's a step-by-step process, and it helps those individuals to be able to communicate with their loved ones and to provide the best care that's they're able to do at home.
Right. Now, is there a cost to this?
No, there's no cost. It's free. Anybody that needs a DVD or even just to get information because they may have a friend or a family member that's distant but wants to get the information, even pre-planning, they can call our office or even just drop us a line and we'll send that DVD.
Even if they're not a client?
Even if they're not a client.
Okay, so tell me, how does it work?
Well, what it does is we have Teepa Snow, who is a nationally known dementia care expert. She's an occupational therapist, but she has developed a treatment program and a caregiving program for families that's very easy to follow. It's also been endorsed by the Alzheimer's Federation of America, and we want to get it out to the public because this disease is so devastating to families right now. Since there still is not a cure at this present moment, we want to make sure that people have the best information so they can provide care.
Now, caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia, that can have a personal toll.
It can. For the most part, family members that are caring, sometimes it's up to 4 family members a day, but it generally starts to fall on the oldest sibling, female sibling.
On the female?
Correct. It seems to be viewed as that's the person that's usually the caretaker for the entire family as the parents age. But out of all those individuals that are caring for a individual with dementia or Alzheimer's, have reported that 40% of them are missing time at work regularly to care for the health of a loved one. Out of that, also 17% are reporting that their own health is failing, and 23% have reported overall after providing care for 5 years or more, their health has been reported as fair to poor.
Wow.
So it really takes a big toll on the family caregivers.
Have you got anybody? Have you got any tips for somebody that's facing this now, trying to provide care for somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia? Have you got any quick tips that you can give us?
Well, some things is just to be supportive in communication. Many times we get irritated or easily frustrated when our loved one is asking the same questions or forgets many times. Emphasize what you want to have happen. Be clear and concise, easy to follow instructions. Alzheimer's individuals or people with dementia can follow simple instructions, can do tasks. They just have difficulty initiating those tasks or switching from task to task.
Okay. All right. Now, we're talking memory failure, I guess. How can we handle that?
Well, even through the aging process, as well as dementia and Alzheimer's, we start to lose our short-term memory. We have the inability to be able to take information and to sear that on our brain like if we were searing a steak. In the past, that's why we still retain a lot of our older memories because our brain chemicals were appropriate at the time, but now since they are failing. So if we are setting up an appointment and you remind your loved one that there's an appointment, they're probably going to forget that, right. But when they do, be supportive in that, and even maybe take some of the responsibility on yourself. And next time, let's try to work this through together. Maybe I thought I told you, but try not to remind them of their memory loss.
Don't get frustrated. Don't get
right. And it's very easy to get frustrated. I've seen it in my own family, and when we're dealing with loved ones, and seeing my mother struggling. With my grandmother and becoming very frustrated. Ma, you already told me that before. But you also run into brain failure too, where those memories, the older memories are there, but if you ask a loved one to go to Macy's at the mall and Macy's moved to another location,
right.
they're not going to know that. They're going to see J.C. Penney now, and they're going to think that Macy's is gone, and they will start to meander and get confused and frustrated and panic.
Okay, well maybe this is a good point then for you to explain show and tell, why that's so important.
Show and tell helps the senior or the person that has the illness to actually understand what you want them to do. Even if it's taking some fruit and you say, I would like you to take this lemon and I want you to put it in the bowl.
Right.
As opposed to, you just throw the fruit in the bowl for me. They might not understand that anymore that this is even a lemon. So you have to be very clear and concise and supportive, and maybe even placing your hand on them and supporting them and picking that up and moving it to the side.
Christopher, a lot of great information from senior helpers. Thank you for that very, very much. Now, we've got something great coming up still to come on Delmarva Life. We're going to head into the kitchen to make a French favorite. And next, celebrating Delaware's history at Dover Days. We're going to tell you all about this weekend's 79th annual celebration and what's new this year. Delmarva Life, life at its best here on Delmarva.